Te Mārie. Welcome along, everybody. This is Yoga to Transform, and I'm Audrey. Today it's sun salutations. Now, I hope you're feeling fit and well. Just follow the strength in your own body. Feel how it feels in your body today. Just follow along and do the bits that feel good for you. Make it make sense to you. If you've got blocks, it'd be good to have a couple of blocks today. And if you've got access to a wall, it's handy to be able to get close to a wall as well. So let's get started on the mat. I'll meet you there. And if you don't have blocks, do just grab some cans or something like that just to give the floor a bit of height. We've got a 25-minute practice for you today, including 2 or 3 minutes at the end of Shavasana. So let's get started. I'll meet you on the mat. A few technical issues today, but that's always good. Just let's start with a bit of twist and tap. As you're ready, just begin to bring some movement into your body. Taking some full deep breaths, enjoying your body, enjoying the movement. Not sure what you've been doing today, but this might be the first movement you've done just for yourself. Enjoy it. And come on through to stillness. Bring the feet into hip width apart, outside edges parallel, standing up tall, and float your hands up into the air as you breathe in, and float them down as you breathe out. Breathe in and out. Let's breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathe in and out. Once more. And out. As we begin to warm up, just feel free to take a layer off as you need. Coming back to feet hip width apart, if you've done some moving around, let's breathe in and reach up. And this time, let's turn it into a forward fold. So breathe out, hinging forward at the hips, hands down to shins. Breathe in and halfway lift. Breathe out and fold. Bend your knees generously. Press down strongly through your feet and reach all the way up as you breathe in. Breathe out, stand tall. Tadasana. Breathe in, reach up. Breathe out, float down. Breathe in, halfway lift. Breathe out and fold. Breathe in and stand all the way up. Now you might find, as you breathe out, that this is the first time you've ever had to coordinate your movements with your breath. So let's try again. Breathe in, reach up. Float down, that's the breath out. Halfway lift, breathe in. Breathe out and fold. Breathe in and stand all the way up. Breathe out, float your arms down. Let's continue. Now, it might look pretty if you join in with me and you try and do the same flow as me at the same time, but your breath might not be the same. Breathing out, breathing in. Might be longer or slower. Or shorter and more rapid. You're going to go through the movements in a different pace to me. So follow your own breath. Breathe in, reach up. Breathe out, hinge forward. Breathe in, look forward, halfway lift. Breathe out and fold. Breathe in, stand all the way up. Reach up. This time, hands together above your head. Come down through the imaginary center line, resting at heart center. Draw your chin down, look at your thumbs. Bring your breath back to in and out of your nostrils. And release your hands there. Let's do that again. Breathe in, reach up. This time, hands above your head, looking up to your hands. And if it feels okay, draw your belly in towards your belly button, or your belly button in towards your spine, and look up towards the ceiling. Whatever feels best for you. You might need to have your hands here or here by your side, wherever feels good for you. Come back up to standing and release your hands down. All right, let's do that again. Breathe in, reach up, hands touch above your head. Look up towards your hands. Check in with yourself. Ground down through your feet. Press down through your hips, down towards the ground as your shoulders and arms stretch above your head. Great work. Come back upright, draw your head back down, gazing forward, float your hands down. Take a moment into Tadasana. Float your chin and ears back. And release there. Today's work is on the Sun Salutations series. And one of the things we do is we do quite a few downward facing dogs and other times when we put our hands down. So I'd just like you to work on putting your hands on the wall. Now I invite you to spread your fingers wide. Maybe turn your hands out a little bit so that your first fingers are pointing up, straight up and down the wall, and making sure that this first finger knuckle here at the top of your palm is plugged in well to the wall, or it will be on the floor the same. So now we've got our hands set, we're going to lean forward slightly and put our hands on the wall, checking in, turning your hands so that that first finger is pointing further up. I'm going to move my feet back a little, check that your hands are shoulder width apart, and gently press your hips back, taking a gentle bend in the knees, allowing the chest to come down, gazing down, checking that your head is allowing your spine to be in line, pressing in towards the wall. Now this is the downward facing dog position. Obviously we're doing it on the wall, so there's not as much pressure on your hands, and feel free to use this any old time during today's practice or as you go through using the wall to help you in a supported position. Press yourself back forward, walk forward, release your hands off the wall. Nice work. I invite you to grab those blocks or your cans or whatever and put them to either side of your mat, maybe even on the mat. Going to get down into a table position, so breathe in, reach up. Breathe out, hinge forward, fold down, hands to shins or the blocks. Halfway lift, look forward. Breathe out and fold all the way down to the ground. Now you can figure out whether the blocks are helpful to come into this position or whether it's actually you need something underneath your knees. You get to choose to make this position feel perfect for you. Hips over knees, shoulders over wrist creases. Come forward into cow, looking forward. Come up into, oh dear. I had some technical issues this morning and now it's actually this afternoon and I'm somewhat losing my language with you. All right, let's come into cow. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in. Allow the belly button to release. Now draw the belly button up. Breathe out. Come forward into cow. Come up into cat. Breathe out. Puff up the back ribs. This time pressing your self back, placing your feet down and pressing yourself down towards a child's pose. Coming all the way down to the ground. Either stacking your hands, getting your block, resting your forehead on your block, your hands or the floor, reaching out with your arms, come up onto fingertips. Bring your hands back underneath your shoulders, press yourself up and come on up into table. This time we'll start with some freestyle movements. So just move yourself around as you feel the need, whatever feels good for you today. And come back through to neutral spine. We're going to walk our knees back this time. And then bring your shoulders forward again so they're over the top of your wrists. This is the half plank position. Going to draw yourself down towards the ground, knees, chest, chin, turn your feet over, slide your hands forward a little, come up into cobra. Come on down to the ground. Tuck your toes under, press yourself back up, half plank. Come on back down to the ground. Turn your toes over, roll your shoulders back, come up into cobra. Come on back down to the ground. Tuck your feet under, press yourself up into half plank, and this time press all the way back to that child's pose. Hands stacked, hands reaching out long, whatever feels best for you and your body. Lift yourself up, place your hands back down, and we're coming back in to the plank position. Come forward over your wrists with your shoulders, bring your chest down to the ground. Turn your feet over, roll your shoulders back, cobra. Come on down to the ground. Tuck your toes under, press yourself up, come back up into half plank, walk your knees forward, you're in table. Come forward into cow. Come up into cat. Come forward into cow. Come up into cat, this time tucking your toes under, lifting your knees, pressing yourself back, downward facing dog. Remember how your hands were on the wall? Initiate that here. Allow your knees to come back down to the ground. Come forward into cow. Come up into cat. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, press yourself back, downward facing dog. Bring yourself down again, knees to the ground. Come all the way through for cow. Come back into cat, and this time press yourself back to child's pose. Lift your head and come forward, coming back into table. Walk your knees back or your hands forward so you can come back into half plank again. This time we're going to stay from half plank and lift up the knees to come into full plank. That's the only move we're going to do. So lift the knees, then let the knees come back down. Rearrange yourself so that you're keeping in alignment, shoulders over wrists. Lift the knees, half plank to full plank. Come on back down to the ground. And last time, half plank to full plank. Come on back down to the ground. Big toes together this time, knees out wide. Come back down to child's pose. Lift your head up. Come on back up through to table. Walk your knees back or your hands forward. Come through to half plank. Pick your knees up and come into downward facing dog.
Let's stay here for a moment and walk the dog. So one knee bends, other heel releases. Check in with your hands. Bending one knee at a time, letting the other heel release. Coming through to stillness with your feet. Look to your hands and gently walk or step your feet forward towards your hands. Bringing your hands to your shins, come into a forward fold. Halfway lift, look forward. Breathe out and fold. Stand all the way up, breathe in. Hands touch above your head and bring them down through heart center. Release your hands there and let's get back to the short edge of the mat. Bringing your blocks onto the floor. From the floor onto the mat. Let's start with hands in prayer for Tadasana as we come through for one round of sun salutation. Gazing forward. On your next in breath, reach up. Breathe out and fold forward. Hands to shins or the blocks. Halfway lift. Breathe out and fold. Step back with your left leg. Come into a low lunge, back knee down, hands into the air, prayer hands. Come on down, hands to blocks. Lift up the back leg. Come forward, step back into high lunge. Bring your knees down. Place your hands on the floor. Come all the way down to the floor. Turn your toes. Roll your shoulders back. Look forward, cobra. Tuck your toes under. Press up to half plank, full plank, and downward facing dog. Lift up your left leg in the air. Bring it all the way forward. Back knee down. Reach up into the air. Bring your hands to the floor. Lift up the back knee. Step all the way forward. Halfway lift. Breathe in. Breathe out and fold. Sweep your hands above your head. Hands come to prayer. Look up to the ceiling. Bring your hands down through heart center. Let's go again. Breathe in, reach up, hands in prayer. Fold on down. Halfway lift. Breathe out and fold. Place your hands on the block. Step back with your left leg. Back knee down. Hands into the air. Come into prayer. Bring your hands back to the block. Step all the way back to plank. Back knees, bring your knees down. Release your hands to the floor. Bring yourself all the way down. Turn your feet over. Roll your shoulders back, look forward, come into cobra. Come on down to the ground. Tuck your toes under. Press up to half plank, full plank, and all the way back to downward facing dog. Lift up your left leg in the air. Swing it all the way forward. Come into a low lunge, back knee down. Hands into the air. Bring your hands to the floor or the blocks. Lift up the back knee. Step all the way forward. Halfway lift. Breathe out and fold. Sweep your hands up. Touching your hands above your head. Come on down to heart center. Release your hands. Let's forward fold to the floor. Nice work. Come on down to the ground. Hands to shins. Halfway lift. Breathe out. Fold on down. Coming down to table. And pressing all the way back, big toes together, knees out wide to child's pose. You might like to extend your hands out this time. If you'd like to, you can walk your hands over to the left-hand side of the right-hand side of the mat, off the edge, stretching through the left-hand side of the body. Walk your hands back through the centre. Take them off the left-hand side of the mat, this time stretching through the right-hand side of the body. Walk your hands back through centre and come to rest them beside your body. Palms up, maybe with your palms near your heels or your feet. Bring your hands back beside you. Coming to a kneeling position, you might like to turn around. Now, if kneeling doesn't feel that good for you, feel free to grab one of your blocks again. Place it behind you, between your feet or your ankles, and come to a seated position. Turn your palms up if that feels okay. Bring your first finger and your thumb together. Draw your chin and ears, float them back. Imagine the crown of your head reaching up towards the ceiling. Take a moment here. And release the mudra or the hand position. On your next in breath, reach up. Allow your hands to come together above your head in prayer. Just clasp your hands together, first fingers up towards the ceiling and side bend to the left. Come on back up to centre and side bend to the right. Come on back up to centre. Release yourself, your arms back down and come on off your block. Swing your legs back round to come into a cross-legged position. You may like to sit on a blanket, maybe fold it up a little, or a block. Allowing your hips to be slightly higher than your knees gives you a little bit more room to come into these positions. Rolling from one side to the other, pulling the outer thigh up and the inner thigh down. Bringing yourself into a comfortable seated position. Place your left hand behind you. You might like to place it on a block. It depends on where the floor feels, where it feels comfortable for you, whether the floor feels good or whether you need the block. Reach up the right hand, breathe in and breathe out. Come into the twist. Breathe in, lift up the back hand, sweep your hand over the top. Come up into a V and twist your hands around. Release your hands back to your thighs. Place your right hand behind you. Sweep your left hand up, breathe in and breathe out, twist round. Moving the waist around from the right-hand side to the left-hand side towards the right. Breathe in, sweep up the other hand. Breathe out. Breathe in, come into the V, stay here. Twist your hands around, working your shoulders apart. Working the elbows away from you, the hands towards the ear. Release your hands there. Come on back to seated.
Wriggle off your mat, off your blanket, and lie back down on the mat. I'm having a day today, aren't I? Sure you're following along. Swing on around, putting your feet on the floor, and gently allow your back to rest on the floor, knees in the air. Draw up your left leg, clasping your hands behind the leg, or holding onto the pant leg, whatever feels best. Letting the fluids move back down that leg. Bend at the knee, squeeze that leg in towards you, and then release it long on the floor. Gently roll it from side to side, just releasing any tension that may have accumulated. Use your in-breath to draw that foot back up and onto the floor, and release the right leg up into the air, clasping behind the thigh or holding the pant leg. Press the hamstring into the hand. Use the femur muscle, a femur bone to press in. Flatten the foot, draw the toes towards that knee. Noticing the quality of your breath. Gently release that leg. Holding onto the shin now, bend the knee, draw it in towards your chest before reaching it long on the mat, letting it roll gently from side to side. Release the other leg to the floor and take a full body stretch, just pointing the toes and letting the hands lie on the floor above your head. Stretch long, stretching out before relaxing the legs and bringing the hands, either resting the hands gently on the belly or beside you. Getting comfortable now for the next 2 or 3 minutes as we come into Shavasana or corpse pose or seated pose, whatever feels best for you. Taking a couple of minutes now to allow the movements that we've done today to settle into your body. Focus on your breath. Feel the inhalation gently in through your nostrils and the exhalation gently out through your nostrils. Focus your mind here as you rest.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Thanks everybody. This is Yoga to Transform and I'm Audrey. Today it's Sun Salutations. I hope you're feeling fit and well. Just follow the strength in your own body, you feel how it feels in your body today, just follow along and do the bits that feel good for you, make it make sense to you. If you've got blocks, it'd be good to have a couple of blocks today. And if you've got access to a wall, it's handy to be able to get close to a wall as well. So let's get started on the mat. I'll meet you there. And if you don't have blocks, do just grab some cans or something like that just to give the floor a bit of height. We've got a 25-minute practice for you today, including 2 or 3 minutes at the end.